can go live here. Hello. So let me know if I'm live by putting like a 0 down in the chat. If I am live, put a 0 down inside the chat. Now, I'm asking you to do that for a couple of different reasons. Number one is because as we get more and more engagement on these kind of group trainings, so whether it's like, a like or comment or share, it causes the Facebook or YouTube algorithm to show it to more and more people. Now, I'm not charging you for this, but we do have about 40,000 people inside of our Facebook group right now. So I want as many people as possible who will see this information, who will see this video. So if you want me to keep doing these videos, please help me out because I'm not charging you for this video. So please help me out by liking, commenting, and sharing. If you're watching this thing live with me, type in hashtag team live. If you're watching this thing on the replay, type in hashtag team replay. If you're watching it live and you comment the hashtag team live, I'm going to make it very interactive for you. If you're doing the replay, I'm actually going to drop your free training as well. And also, if you want some help growing your business so you can avoid a lot of mistakes that cause like most people to struggle, go ahead and click the link out there above or below the video to book a call with myself to see if I can help you inside of our mentorship program. So let's attack this thing today. So how our mentorship student basically he got a client that had a $15,000 cleanup and is going to pay him $1,000 a month. So this cleanup covers about 20 months, 2023 till about now. The person is in the real estate niche. She's actually a real estate agent that also does a lot of like house flipping as well. So, and sometimes we talk about niches and stuff, and it's not like a lot of people are like hunting for like what's the best niche ever in the world, and that's really the wrong way to go about it. It's really like what is the niche that works the best for you that you can talk to forever, because that's when those are the kind of people that are actually going to like you and actually going to want to afford to pay you the price you ask, right? Because sometimes what happens is you might choose like a really like popular niche or something you think is going to give a lot of money, but you actually start going and talking to those business owners and you find out you don't even like those business owners, or they don't like you, or maybe you go into an industry where like maybe you don't do any kind of profanity, but all they do, they curse like sailors, right? And you find out you hate dealing with people like that, right? So I always look for what is the industry that I get along with the most, and then how can I go find people within that industry that are going to be able to, really support me and then really help me along my journey. So inside of this, there was one main skill set that we utilize in order to help the student get this client. Number one is communication. Okay, so this is the ultimate skill set you can learn when starting a self-employed or a professional services type business. So if you think about it, a doctor, if you think about it, a lawyer, if you think about it, a financial advisor, what do we really do? We communicate the knowledge that's in our head and we translate it to someone who doesn't really have the same level of expertise to help them understand and gain complete clarity into what they should be doing with their future. What's their financial future, their medical future, their legal future, doesn't really matter, right? So it's all about communication. Now, communication doesn't just start when the person's working with you. It actually starts months, days, years before they actually sign up with you. And the better you get at communication, the easier it's going to be to get a long line of people that are waiting and wanting to work with you. If this student keeps up this pace, he could probably be he's getting about a client a week for like the last like 3 weeks. Because it took him about 2 weeks to really kind of get the hang of our messaging script inside of our training portal. But now he's got about a client every single week since then. So I'm really excited for him. Like it's not taking a lot of work. The one thing that I do notice with this student is like every time that this student does work, he gets a result. But it's kind of up and down. Like some weeks doesn't feel like it as much. Some days are a little bit slower. So as soon as we can kind of get the mindset going on this student, you help him like really get out of his shell when it comes to being consistent with the work, that's going to be a killer. But back to what we're talking about, communication. Okay, so some examples of communication: content. So, excuse me, I have a piece of gum. When most people think about content, they are thinking about, the kind of like written posts or picture posts that you get like on Canva that you actually just that you just have out there and like hope people will work with you. Now, that's not bad. It just doesn't really get clients the way most people think that it will, because number one, most people don't have an audience size large enough for the content to work. So for example, if you notice when I first started this video, I said, okay, there are 40,000 people inside this Facebook group. However, Facebook does not show your post to every single person that's either following you or inside of one of your groups. It generally is going to show to about 10% of the total audience. So for me, if I have a group of 40,000 people, it's going to show to like, what is that, 4,000 people. For you, if you have like a friends list of 200 people, it's probably only going to show to about 20 people maximum. That's just not quite enough, especially if like you have 200 people that are all like friends and family or people from like your corporate life, right? It's just not quite enough. So a couple different ways you can think about content. Number one would be like posts that you make. Number two is your profile. So in the beginning, I don't recommend that most people start off with like doing content. Like this student did not do any content, right? But it started off with the profile. Now, that's not to say that content won't get you results, and we can talk about like where to put in content. For example, one of our students named James Huntington. He got to $20,000 a month from posting like very simple posts inside of Facebook groups, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Hari asked, "Hey, can I do this business from India?" Yeah, you can definitely do the business from India. It is a little bit harder. So what I would do, like you really just kind of choose where do you want to get your clients from, right? That's the biggest thing. Like where are you going to get your clients from? Because there's certain countries that are going to be more reactive to people that are doing business in India than others, right? So like Canada is generally very friendly to people from India because like Canada is really really strong in terms of like the Indian population due to like immigration. So you just have to kind of find like where going back to like the niches, right? Niches can also be like demographics. It doesn't have to be like industry type. So you have to find like what really works for you, and then just make sure you charge like a really good amount of money in order to get them to get started with you. Cool. So going back to that. So let's say that you don't have a very large audience. The first piece of content you should be making is going to be on your profile. Okay. So let's say that you're going to be doing LinkedIn. Okay. LinkedIn has about 3 different sections. There's a tagline, about, and experience. Now, the reason why it's important is because you need to basically walk a person through what is exactly like to be working with you. What is your onboarding process? What software do you use? How long have you been doing inside this accounting field for? Why should someone work with you over someone else? Are you on the expensive side or are you on like the inexpensive side? Like really just like give them a preview into who you are as a business owner. The reason why it's important is because the more someone knows about you before they start talking with you, the easier it is for them to actually want to work with you at those higher price points. Because the only thing really stopping you from charging someone a higher price point is the fact they don't know you or the fact they don't trust you. It's really that. They feel like maybe they don't know you well enough, or there's like if they don't know you well enough, they can kind of feel like there's a shroud of doubt that if they were to like pay you, let's say like you're charging them $15,000. If you're an internet person and they're in a different state, the person needs to trust you a lot in order to like give you $15,000 for a cleanup project. You know what I mean? So it's like the more time they can spend with you or your profile or some information you have, maybe if you have like some blog posts on your website, the easier it is for the person to feel like they know you. Then when you're on the consultation call, the only thing you're doing is you're just confirming the fact that the assumptions they made while reading your profile before the call are correct. And the more congruent, and congruent just means like in alignment with like what you said in the beginning, what's on your profile, and who you are now. The more congruent you can be and the more consistently congruent you can be, the easier it is for someone to say yes and then pay you those higher price points. Okay. Now, this is not a silver bullet, right? They're going to run into like some people who just don't want to pay anybody any money, right? And like those, so you're not going to close ever like 100% of people. But for most people, like if you're sitting with like a prospect that's actually real and is actually looking to get started, that's the main thing. So your profile has to be locked and loaded. Next thing is like once you have about 500 business owners that are like following you on your personal profile, now you can start making posts. Okay. So I actually made a guide that like walks through how to do like posts, as well as there's like a video if you go to my YouTube channel that breaks down how to do posts. I believe I might be able to put a link down inside the comment, or if not, just go to my YouTube channel, just type in like Facebook. But yeah, you can make a really good amount of money if you start posting after you have an audience. Okay, it's just about like you have to make sure that your audience is paying you money. Let's take a step back. So when it comes to content, how do you know if you are ready to make content? Okay, as soon as the existing audience gives you 3 clients, that means there's more people inside of that audience. So I was I was overhearing this person tell a young man that anyone can start a business. Like the best thing they should do is like start a business. And the father was actually like was like a very successful artist, but he didn't really understand why he was successful. He was successful because the thing he was selling was very, very unique. It was a very unique piece of art. It was very functional for the house. It just made sense. But for someone else who doesn't have that, it's like it's gonna be way harder to make money doing that thing. So the father didn't understand. Okay, so if he when he was doing like art fairs, he would sell. Whenever he go online, he would sell. He made YouTube videos about his art and it would sell. He made a Facebook thing about his art and it sold. Everything he did seemed to work. So he thought that business just works, right? But really, what it was he already had something that people actually wanted to buy. And then when people actually wanted to buy, hey, what is this? This is the wrong profile. Oh, I roll. So this is the wrong profile on my phone. So I'm going to have to go and sync that one and get onto the other one. But yes, that's the number one thing is, okay, it always has to be within the right field because whatever you do, once you already have some traction going, you're going to be able to keep getting more and more and more money, right? So if you already have some accounting clients that are coming from your current LinkedIn profile, let's say you have like 200 people on your LinkedIn profile, generally there's going to be about another 2 to 5 people. One rule of thumb I like to think about is like the 1% rule. 1% rule basically means that about 1% of your total qualified audience should end up working with you. Now, when I say qualified audience, generally for accounting and bookkeeping services, if you're going to be charging about $500 per month, the person needs to be making at least $500,000 per year in top line revenue in order to be able to like actually afford to work with you at those higher price points. Once they get above that, you're generally going to be looking at like 1 to 2% of the total revenue is going to be what they're willing and able to pay for you. So if like you're expecting to make a minimum of $500 a month and like the person's doing like $200,000 a year in top line revenue, it's going to be very hard for them to be able to afford to pay you that $500 per month mark. And that's just, you just have to kind of put that in perspective because if you think about it, most business owners, especially like in their first year of business, they're going to be making anywhere between about 10 to like 30% profit margin, right? So let's say that if someone is doing $100,000 a year and they're making, we'll say like a 15% profit margin, that means they're probably only going to be pocketing about an extra $15,000 before taxes in a lot of cases. So if you're asking for $5 a month, that's about 6,000 per year. That's almost half of what they're actually taking home at the end of the day. So they just literally just cannot afford to really pay you that much money. So that's step number one. Just make sure they're actually going in front of like the right people that can afford to actually like pay you. Now, once you have that, and once you start having like 1 to 2 clients, you're looking for there's gonna be like a remainder of people inside of that audience, and then you can start making content because you know that you have the right words, phrases, emotions, and feelings that you are communicating, whether it's on the phone or on a consultation call, or if it's actually going to be like a message that you're saying to the person to get them to want to work with you. Now, second thing that you can do, now, if that just sounds like it's very overwhelming to you, the next easiest thing is to use Messenger. So whenever I'm talking about Messenger, we generally give our students in our mentorship program like a messaging script of exactly what you can say to make sure it's easier for you to get clients to sign up with you at your higher price points. Now, in this particular case, the student actually used the LinkedIn Messenger script we gave him, and he basically translated it to Facebook because there's a little bit of difference between Facebook and LinkedIn, especially when it comes to like the Messenger script that you're going to be using. So he basically just translated it to Facebook. Now with Facebook is oftentimes easier to book calls for like your consultation calls. It's harder to see if the person can actually afford your services before they get on the call with you. So we're always trying to figure that out as we are talking to people and as we're like messaging. One kind of cheat code that you can use, it's like something we recommend for all the students in our program, is that you find the person on Facebook, and then if you're messaging back and forth, before you invite them to a call, you need to do some sort of research, whether that's going to go and look at like their website, or if that's going on LinkedIn. If you have Sales Navigator, generally Sales Navigator will show you like how much the company is doing like revenue wise, and you just apply that 1% rule we talked about a couple minutes ago. Assuming that they actually have passed that 1% rule, now you can start, inviting them to the phone call. Now you can start inviting them to the consultation call because you know that they are able to afford like your service. Now, when you mix like someone has the ability to do your service as well as like the know, like, and trust factor we talked about earlier, where they actually like you, That's where you have that combination of people actually wanting to work with you, but also being able and willing to pay those higher price points. So it just makes things a lot more effective. And then once you have that pattern down with Messenger, you really don't have to change your Messenger scripts up that much once you have it down. Like for me, for example, I use 3 different Messenger scripts that basically have the same 3 to 4 messages. I repeat over and over and over and over and over again, just consistently over time. So once you really have that pattern down and you understand like how many people you need to speak to in order to get a certain percentage of people on the phone, it's just so much more consistent for you to be able to do that over time. Now, if you guys want that Messenger script, we do have a video on our YouTube channel that breaks down how to do like Messenger, as well as how to handle objections inside of the Messenger script. So if you want to go see it, just like go to my YouTube channel and type in like objections, and then like you'll see that video. It's probably like it'll probably be like 2 or 3 different videos on that channel that will like show that to you. If you're inside of the school group that we have, go inside of the classroom section, look under the how to start your business video course, and that's going to show you the video like title like objection handling in the DMs. It's going to take you to that. Cool. Next thing is sales consultation calls. So this is actually the simplest one because once you have them, like they know you, they like you, they've seen your profile, they really enjoy you, they really want to work with you. Most cases, your consultation call is going to be the simplest element of the journey. Now, for most accountants and bookkeepers, I understand that generally sales is going to be like a lot more challenging just because it's just different. Oh, hey, Dr. Lamar, how are you doing? I see you inside of the live chat on my phone, my other Facebook profile. Good to see you. I haven't talked to you in a long time, but hopefully you're doing well and always good to see you. Back to what we were saying. So sales consultation call. The real key about the sales consultation call, now we give you a script inside of our mentorship program, but if you don't have a script, I always think of it in 3 different sections, right? So number 1 is going to be your question and answer section where you're basically building your authority on the call and getting someone to understand like the skill set you have. The second element is going to be your presentation. So you basically use all the information you learned in the question and answer section to basically design how you're going to be talking to the person about how you're going to help them, like in the most relevant way, right? So let's say that one of their challenges is that they always run out of inventory right before Black Friday, okay? So part of your accounting pitch is you're going to help them with their cost accounting to understand like their inventory reports, inventory turnover, and just making sure they don't run out of inventory on like, Q4, which is like the biggest time in the year for most like retail stores, right? And then at the end, the third section is going to be your objection handling or your clarifying questions. Now, if you've done this correctly, in most cases, it's going to be clarifying questions. It's not going to be objections. The difference between a clarifying question and an objection is a clarifying question, which is good, is they are asking. A objection is when they are telling. Asking means, where am I going to find the money? How can I make this work? Is there a way we can break it up to a payment plan? Those are good questions. Bad questions or objections are, you're too expensive. I can do this on my own. Why do I need to get started with you right now? Let me think about it. Okay? So assuming you've done your consultation call process correctly and you've done your messenger call process correctly and you've done your profile correctly, you should only be getting clarifying questions. Now, the other caveat with clarifying questions is oftentimes the deals that are going to come back to you within 3 to 6 months are people that maybe say like they're a maybe or they just can't do it right now, and they have to like either save money, they have to go and get a loan from the bank, they have to go and like sell some more of their equipment, they have to go and get rid of some of their excess inventory. Those people are generally going to be saying they want to get started working with you, but they have a very definitive reason as to why they just literally cannot do it at this moment in time. So as long as you have clarifying questions, you try and get these people who are willing and able to get forward, like moving forward today. If you can get those people to go, and then the ones that just have some like obstacle in the way, if you can figure out a way to like follow up with them for the next like 3 to 6 months, they generally will come back. Now, if you don't have a good follow-up process, we have a really deep YouTube training about follow-up, okay? So if you want that, just go type in like my YouTube search bar, follow up. So generally how we think about follow-up is like a 15-day cycle. Very simple. Now, this video is getting a little bit long. I like to keep it right around like 20, 21 minutes. Or else Facebook is generally going to get like to show to less and less people. So what I'm actually going to do is, if you want some help growing your business, and like maybe you've been trying to grow your business, but just not quite going the way that you want or the way that you hoped, and you feel that if you had someone that could take you by the hand, had a proven process to help you go and reach your goals, would be helpful. If you feel that that's the next step for you, go ahead and click the link inside the description, either above or below the video, to book a call with myself to see if I can help you inside of our mentorship program. Okay? I will talk to you soon. Hopefully have a good rest of your day. Take it easy.